So Alex Hormozi actually broke the internet, which is everybody knows about. But the thing that most people don't know about is his unique podcast strategy, which led him to be on podcast charts all over the different platforms. So if you're talking about Alex Hormozi and his recent launch of his 100 million leads book, which actually broken the internet in general, with a completely different strategy where he was doing the perfect webinar and he was doing this offer stack, but at the end, instead of selling it, he actually gave it away for free. But in this video, we're going to be talking about his amazing podcast strategy that he used in order to get on the podcast charts and got hundreds of thousands of new listeners on his podcast, where he's also deliver additional knowledge. So hey guys, what's up? RJ here, back in this video, and in this video we're gonna be talking about and we're gonna be dissecting the strategy what Alex and Mozi actually used, according to what I think, based off my personal experience of like how he blew up his podcast and also get on those podcast charts. So let's go to the screen and talk about how all of the things went through. So as you can see right now, we have opened Chartable at the moment, which shows the podcast charts of other platforms. Right now, if you can see, like by the time when Alex Hormozi actually launched all of his, when he launched his book, he ended up being on US all podcasts. He was in top 10. And right now, he's on in US business is top 15, entrepreneurship in top 6, and all the other categories as well, which is crazy. Imagine being on top 10 in all of US, which is because there's pretty heavy competitors on that place. So the very first thing what I've saw, what Alex Hormozi did is when he was doing this when he was doing this book launch, while giving that book for free, he actually gave the audiobook of the book for free as well. As you can see here, he gave the audiobook of the book for free, and instead of recording it as a complete audio, or recording it as a complete audio version of the book and then host it somewhere else and provide other people out there just to listen it that way, he actually started to cut the pieces of the podcast and or cut the pieces of the audiobook in terms of the parts, like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, so and so on. And he started to post it as a podcast episodes. So what happened is, for example, if you had 5 episodes and 500,000 people are coming on your podcast and start to listen or binge listening those podcast episodes, by default you're gonna get these 500,000 people times 5. You can calculate that over 2.5 million listeners out of nowhere. And for this, for Alex Hormozi, he had a total of almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 parts, which led to end his audiobook of $100 million leads, which is crazy, which is insane. So if you do the simple calculation of 500,000 people, and let's say even if we go a little bit further, let's say 200,000 people, and 11 parts, 2 million new listeners or 2 million listeners or downloads out of thin air, just because of, instead of driving those people out there to listen to the audiobook on any other platform, maybe YouTube, stuff like that, he actually dissected or directed all of those people to go on and listen his audiobook in these parts, which is count as a different episodes, in different parts, and then have them heard or have them listen the audio podcast as in chapters over there. So instead of having this long 2 hours chapter, he actually divided it into episodes and started to upload it on his podcast, so that when people start to go there and listen it, he can get on podcast charts, which by the way is definitely an amazing strategy. Because when I saw him actually when I saw him posting about hey, I've been ranked on this podcast chart, stuff like that, then my mind clicked and I was like, that was an insane strategy, because he had this content that he was obviously he was giving it away for free, which is insane value. If you haven't checked it out yet, just go check it out. The links will be in the description down below. He provided free course. You just have to buy the book if you want. If not, you can get it on Kindle for $1, if I'm not wrong, or you can get the course for free. The link will be in the description down below. It's not an affiliate link. But yeah, apart from that, he put it the audio version of the book into podcasting side. So when people are gonna start listening on the podcast, obviously they're gonna listen other episodes as well. But apart from that, all probably gonna be new listeners, or even like the previous listeners gonna get count as a listeners or downloads, which help him to rank just because of the volume, ranked on all podcast category inside of US, even like UK and other countries as well. And he's still ranking in like entrepreneurship and business category in US alone, which is amazing. So when I saw that strategy, and I was like, this is definitely something which most people should go and do it. Let's say if they're planning to sell something, that could be a video side of it as well, which is free. They could get people to go on the audio side as well. But you have to like choose things strategically as well, because like you, first of all, you're not Alex Hormozi. There are a lot of things and factors and bits and pieces comes into place. Is like how much you afford to lose. That is the main thing, because for Alex, he's not providing any opt-ins. He don't care about that, only because of on the certain level he is right now. I admire him. I love all of the content from him. I love how he think. Loved it. But you cannot replicate, depending upon where you are at the moment, where Alex Hormozi is. That is the most important thing. But in some cases, if you're giving it away, so why not using a different channel as well? If you're giving away something, you have to use another channel, probably as a podcast as well, and like hook them as a podcast episode and increase your podcast downloads as well, because that's just another channel that you can use and leverage. I just wanted to get on this video, or in on this video, to talk about like how Alex and Muzi like have done that so strategically as well. It wasn't a guess at all. He did that exact same thing to his previous book right before the launch, or right at the launch. He also posted all of his 100 million offers audiobook as well as episodes, and then 100 million leads as episodes as well, so that people can listen to those chapters, also increasing the podcast downloads and get him to the podcast charts, which was absolutely amazing. So we're going to talk about like all of the other things as well around podcasting, around interview podcast, stuff like that. So be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.